Hello, Happy New Year and welcome to this week's News Review. The leader of the Liberal Party and Deputy Chief Minister has expressed full confidence that the current border problems will subside in the long term, as the current Bebe government cannot be there forever. Joseph Garcia said 2014 will bring with it its own set of challenges and opportunities.
Dr. Garcia says 2 years in, the government is pleased with the implementation of its manifesto, with 250 commitments already fulfilled. He's picked out the Treaty of Utrecht Symposium as a highlight of 2013 and says a new symposium on self-determination will be organised for 2014. Dr. Garcia says this year will bring the 30th anniversary of the Brussels process, as well as the 350th anniversary of the Royal Marines. The Deputy Chief Minister says the government will continue to compile statistical data on the border controls by Spain and continue to use Liberal contacts within the European Union to lobby on Gibraltar's behalf. Dr. Garcia says Gibraltar will continue to take its message to Brussels and encourage other organisations as well as ordinary citizens to complain to the Commission about the politically motivated queues. Finally, Dr. Garcia reminds Gibraltar that European elections will be held in May and stresses the importance of ensuring the right MEPs are returned to defend the ROC's interests in Europe.
Outgoing Financial Services Commission CEO Marcus Killig will be receiving an OBE and former returning officer Dennis Figueres an MBE. This has been announced as part of the New Year's Honours List published by the convent.
Marcus Killick has served as Financial Services Commission CEO for 10 years and has been recognised for helping strengthen Gibraltar's reputation as a jurisdiction and financial services centre. Under his guidance, the FSC was the first regulator to achieve ISO 9000 status and become a full risk-based regulator. Dennis Figueres has provided 51 years of continuous public service, playing prominent roles such as clerk to the House of Assembly and principal private secretary to the Chief Minister. He's coordinated successive general elections, 2 referendums and European elections. Since he retired, he's been kept on by the Gibraltar government as a consultant and has recently acted as secretary to the Commission on Democratic and Political Reform. The British Empire Medal has been granted to Vice President of the Chess Association, Mario Garcia, whilst Overseas Territories medals have been awarded to Superintendent Richard Mifsud, Sergeant Albert Buhaya, PC Herbert Warwick and firefighter Sergio Parodi. Gibraltar awards were presented to Abraham Benadi for services to the Jewish community, Joseph Brugada for services to the hearing impaired, and Antonio Celestia for services to local football. Finally, in the military list, Colour Sergeant Anselmo Rochelo has been awarded the Queen's Volunteer Reserve Medal for services to the Royal Gibraltar Regiment.
Labour Party leader Ed Miliband has committed his party to supporting the rights of the people of Gibraltar to remain British. In an interview with The Independent, Mr Miliband says Labour fully supports and upholds the right of Gibraltar and its people to remain under British sovereignty. He says Spain's recent actions only serve to increase tension and foster mistrust and ill feeling. In a wide-ranging interview, Mr Miliband also answered questions on the Conservative Lib Dem alliance, the economy and other aspects of foreign policy. The Spanish government has launched a pension reform that restricts how far payments to elderly Spaniards can rise in the coming years. The move is designed to go some way to fixing the country's breaking pension system.
Spanish pension increases will no longer be linked to inflation, but will instead be calculated with a sustainability factor that links payments to life expectancy. Pensions in Spain will effectively decrease as the average lifespan increases. At present, however, Spanish state pensions are amongst the most generous in the Western world. According to the International Economic Organization, OECD, a Spanish pensioner typically receives 75% of the salary he or she retired on. The OECD average is 55%. In Gibraltar, after a full career, a civil servant can receive 2/3 or 67% salary as a monthly pension. A spokesman for Number 6 confirmed to GBC that there are currently no plans to change this system. Local interest in Spanish pensions will extend beyond direct comparisons. Many Gibraltarians will have friends and family living in Spain. And then there's the Cordoba Agreement. By this time last year, the British government had paid out almost £70 million to Spanish pensioners. Indeed, substantial Spanish pensions have allowed elderly people to help their children and grandchildren through the current economic crisis. But the current reform will change that. And some analysts are warning that in the next few decades, reductions in payments might mean Spanish pensioners will no longer be able to cover their cost of living. The OECD has warned Madrid that they'll need to monitor the situation in the future to protect against pensioner poverty. And apart from pensions, there are more immediate economic problems for Spain. Unemployment continues to hover at around 25%, and public debt is set to reach 100% of the country's GDP. Mariano Rajoy's government is planning to reform the tax system in the next 6 months.
In 2013, the Royal Navy had to deal with almost 500 illegal incursions into British Gibraltar territorial waters by foreign government vessels, principally, if not exclusively, Spanish state vessels. The statistic was revealed by the Navy's Gibraltar Squadron, who challenged almost every one of those incursions, heading out in their ribs and patrol boats, HMS Sabre and HMS Scimitar, to gather evidence and ensure the Navy's presence was known. HMS Scimitar's commanding officer told GBC about the importance of keeping calm and sticking to protocol when facing a potentially volatile situation at sea. And we'll be back with more of this week's news after this break. Welcome back to News Review. Gibraltar international footballer Danny Higginbottom has left Chester at the age of 35 to focus on his media career. However, he will continue to play international football for now and will play his club football at a lower level.
Danny Higginbottom made his international debut for Gibraltar in November when the national side held Slovakia to a very creditable 0-0 draw in Portugal. The defender had been playing for non-league side Chester, but he's now announced that he'll be leaving the club. Danny Higginbottom made over 200 Premier League appearances for Manchester United, Derby, Southampton, Stoke and Sunderland. He played 17 games for Chester before calling it a day, saying he couldn't balance the time between his media appearances and football. He has, however, assured his fans that he will continue to play for the Gibraltar national side, at least until the end of the season.
Now, the entire population of Gibraltar has won second place in the MSN Heroes of 2013 poll, with 20% of readers choosing the Rock's people over individuals like Pope Francis and the Duchess of Cambridge.
Gibraltar's people were nominated for the Heroes Award after stoically withstanding abuses at the border and at sea from the Spanish state. The poll opened in early December with 12,000 people casting votes. The winners, with 37%, were the ordinary members of the public in Woolwich who tended to the dying body of soldier Lee Rigby and confronted his killers. Last May, Fusilier Rigby was run over and hacked to death by two men in southeast London. Passers-by tended to Mr. Rigby and waited by his body as police arrived at the scene. Some even diverted school children away from the area and recorded the killers on camera. The two men were sentenced to prison at the Old Bailey this month.
The Gibraltar Bus Company will be fitting solar-powered lights in bus shelters around the Rock. Following a tender process, solar lights will be installed on a trial basis at the Marketplace Terminal on Saturday the 18th of January. Bus stops and service will be transferred to Waterport Road opposite Water Gardens for the rest of the day while works are completed. Buses will resume normal service from Marketplace the following morning, Sunday the 19th. The Minister for Public Transport, Neil Costa, said the project is a political commitment for the GSLP Liberal government and the project should be completed by this year. Lawyer, travel writer and one-time Radio Gibraltar presenter Tristan Connor died this week at the age of 33. After being diagnosed with cancer just over a year ago, he went on to travel as much as possible and also got married. In a blog post from September last year, Tristan said there really is no time like the present to really start living and purchase that round-the-world air ticket. In 2009, Tristan wrote a guidebook for Gibraltar's historic walks.
The research was definitely the fun bit, learning all about these little bits of Gibraltar that I had passed on a daily basis, and had some little bit of information about the background, but didn't really know what it was, the full history on it. So as soon as I did all my reading, just started writing away, and in the evenings and on weekends, and it was very much a labour of love, and it's good for people to know as much as they can about a place that everybody's so proud of.
Gibraltar rang in the new year in style at Casemate Square with a spectacular fireworks display. Thousands of people gathered at the square for a fun-packed night, with the event organised by Gib Media and transmitted live on GBC television.
It's become a tradition to see in the new year at Casemates, and the crowd certainly turned out for the last party of 2013 and the first of 2014. With GBC's own James Niche hosting the show, the square was treated to live music from two of Gibraltar's most popular bands. This side up were the first to take to the stage.
When I'm lost in the game of
Jetstream then joined this side up and James on stage for the countdown to the new year. Grapes and champagne at the ready.
Happy New Year, Gibraltar! Happy 2014!
And the party was still going strong well into the early hours of the morning, with more live music from Jetstream, followed by local DJs.
Tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's gonna be a good night.
And for the rest of this week's news, you can head over to our website, gbc.gi/news. Don't forget to tune in to Radio Gibraltar and GBC Television throughout the week for the very latest local news. And you can also follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. Thank you very much for watching. Good night.